Hello everyone and welcome back to AllisonTV. And today guys, we are going to be discussing soul ties. There are so many different types of soul ties, but we're going to be talking about the most common one today, which would be sexual soul ties. Go ahead and make sure you subscribe and let's get straight into this video. So a soul tie is, like I said, there's many different ones, but we're going to be talking about the sexual one. And it's very, very powerful. I think a lot of people underestimate how powerful a soul tie can be. They don't even realize that they have soul ties. Me, because I'm a Christian, I personally believe that when you do become sexual with someone, you do become one flesh. I know that soul ties don't only exist in the Christian world or whatever. I'm pretty sure whatever it is you believe in, there's a such thing as soul ties and what it means when you get them from being sexual. So we're gonna talk about the ways to identify if you have a soul tie. So one of the reasons that you can figure out whether you have a soul tie or not is if you're in a relationship with somebody and you just keep making excuses for their toxic behavior. This can be easily for people who are in abusive relationships, whether it's physically or emotionally or verbally. And it could be for people who just allow their boundaries to constantly get crossed, or for them to know that their partner is obviously doing something that they should not be doing, and when it comes to light, just constantly making a stupid excuse as to why they're doing it, or making an excuse as to why you're staying. When you find yourself constantly making excuses for somebody because they're not able to love you properly, you probably got a soul tie. Another way that you can identify whether you have a soul tie is when you just absolutely refuse to leave this person alone. When you feel like this bond or this attachment that you have to this person is just that strong, and that they're just the only ones that understand you, or they're just the only ones that you think that you'll just ever love like that, or you've just learned to deal with their behavior. You're the only one that can deal with them and they're the only one that can deal with you. That's a soul tie. Another way to identify whether you have a soul tie is when you're constantly thinking of this person. Even if you feel like you're over this person and you want nothing else to do with them, you don't want to be in a relationship with them, but you constantly find yourself thinking of them, especially if it's something that constantly pops up in your mind. If you find yourself having dreams about them, or if you find yourself in a relationship with another partner and you're constantly comparing this person to your ex or somebody that you dealt with in the past, or when you're being sexual or intimate with this person, you're thinking of that person, you probably got a soul tie. Well, you do have a soul tie. When you become stalkerish, that's how you know you got a soul tie. When you find yourself on their social media page, or just constantly going places that you know you're gonna bump into this person, or just trying to see this person, or going out of your way to change up your schedule to where you run into this person, you probably got a soul tie. And that's not healthy. It's embarrassing. Please stop. When you feel the need to constantly try to stay in touch with this person, when this person makes you feel like, oh, we can still be friends and da 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 da. Some people, it works for them. You can be friends with people that you've been sexual with. You don't see a problem with it. But when you're trying to move on and have a successful relationship, I don't see it possible. And that's just my personal opinion. When you're keeping into, especially if the relationship that you had with that person was toxic, or if that person is simply your ex, there's no reason to still be talking to your ex, especially if you're trying to be in a new relationship. There's just no reason for it. But when you feel the need to constantly keep in touch with this person, or check up on them and see what they're doing, or they're checking up on you and stuff, you probably got a soul tie. When you honestly move on from somebody and you just really don't kind of, you're trying to be happy and move on, you don't feel the need to constantly just be in their life. Another way you can see whether you have a soul tie is if you're constantly feeling bad for this person. If you're constantly answering this person's phone calls and constantly being there for that person whenever they reach out to you, and it's because I feel bad for this person, or you feel like this person only made good decisions when they were in a relationship with you, or that you had a positive impact on their life, they knew what they were sacrificing when you guys ended your relationship. It is not your job to be that person's parent. That person is a grown person and they're capable of making their own decisions, and that it's no longer your job to keep up with what they do and the decisions that they make. But if you find yourself constantly doing this and your excuse is, oh, I feel bad for him, or I feel bad for her, or this and that, you got a soul tie. If you're constantly doing things to get this person's attention, posting things on social media that you think they're gonna see, if you and him always went to this particular restaurant and ordered this particular thing, and this was y'all's thing, and then you just go to that restaurant and you posting pictures of that, hoping that that person see it, or when you upload stuff on your story or your Snapchat, hoping that that person sees it, you got a soul tie, because you're just seeking their attention. You're hoping that they reach out to you. You're hoping that they see it and that they think of you when they see it. And that's a soul tie. Another way to identify whether you have a soul tie is when you completely let this person just completely isolate you. When this person convinced you that you don't need friends, you don't need family, this is the only person that you need. When the people around you see that you're not in a healthy relationship, or that this person is constantly running over you and stuff, and you decide, oh, you know that this person is treating you bad and that it's a toxic relationship, but you don't want anybody to say anything, or you feel embarrassed, so you just stop talking to people. Like if you have a boyfriend and you know your boyfriend is constantly cheating on you, and you know that it's constantly getting out there, so you just avoid your family and avoid your friends to keep from anybody bringing it up, anybody, you just want to avoid it all, you probably got a soul tie. Anytime you rather isolate yourself and damage your relationship with your family or your friends or anybody else for your relationship, or for an ex for your relationship, you probably got a soul tie. Well, you do have a soul tie. Abandoning your spirituality can mean that you have a soul tie. Me personally, when I was in a really bad relationship, I knew that this guy wasn't for me, and I'm really deep into, you know, my religion, and I knew that this person was bad for me, and it's just, I knew that I wasn't supposed to be with this person. I knew that, you know, it just wasn't gonna work out. So I would feel bad, and instead of praying for my situation to get better or praying for this person, whenever I came together to pray for my life and the things I had going on in my life, I would leave that aspect out, because I was afraid that if I prayed for God to take things out of my life that wasn't for me, or if I prayed for, you know, to better my life, then God will remove this person from my life, and I wasn't ready for that. You start to pray less, and you kind of abandon your craft, because everybody wants to have a good life, everybody wants everything to work out for them, and when you're practicing your craft and you're trying to pray or manifest or whatever it is you do, all these good things into your life, you kind of be more watchful of the things that you pray for, because you know that this person isn't good for you, you know that this situation isn't good for you, and if you continue to pray for the good things to happen, then that person may ultimately be removed from your life, and you're not ready for that. Not allowing other people to love you can show that you have a soul tie. When you're trying to date or get into these new relationship and you have this entire wall up, and you're just, I'm not saying, you know, you should just, it's wrong to not be as trustworthy as you were before if you've been hurt, but when you're constantly not letting yourself enjoy your relationship, or you're self-sabotaging because of your ex or because of somebody you dealt with, you have a soul tie. You're letting that person block you from your happiness, or keep you from being happy. You feel like, you know, I've never been as in love as I was in this relationship, and I just feel like there's nobody else for me, there's nobody else that can love me the way, you know, you really loved that love and that relationship, that you just feel like you can't get it from anywhere else, so you don't allow anybody else to try to love you and to try to give you a healthy relationship. So those are the ways that you can identify whether you have a soul tie. And the best way to rid yourself of a soul tie is to, one, acknowledge that you you have one. You have to be serious about it. You have to be ready to get this out of your life. You have to be ready to take the necessary steps that it takes to get this out of your life. The next thing is to forgive, and not only that person, but yourself. Forgive yourself for going through what you went through and allowing the things that you allowed in your relationship. Allowing yourself to be soul tied. Allowing all of those points that I just named to happen to you. Especially abandoning your craft, no matter what it is you believe in. And lastly, renounce your soul tie. However you do it, whatever it is that you believe in, do your research, because each religion and each thing that everybody believes in, there's a way to renounce your soul tie. So just completely detach yourself, and if you realize that you have a soul tie with somebody, you need to completely cut them off. You don't need to be in contact with them. You don't need that toxic energy in your life, and you just need to rid it all together, because you're not going to get rid of a soul tie any other way. So those have been my tips on soul ties, what it is, how to identify it, and how to get rid of it. Like and share this video for awareness, and comment down below how you've dealt with soul ties, how you've identified that you've had soul ties, and just words of encouragement for people who are going through having a soul tie. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can see when I post another video, and I will see you guys later. Go renew yourself.